Hey everyone, Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have the Monday market report for August 3. Welcome, August, the final month of summer, I would say. And what's not final is all the hits. The hits just keep on coming throughout the summer time. We're going to explore all of the major, I guess, relevant modern post 1900 era of U.S. type coins. These are, of course, all graded, coming from greatcollections.com, one of the premier auction sites today. So we're going to look up and down here and see how things are going. We had a couple more really huge Steuart Blade red copper collection pieces. We're going to talk about those. We're also going to talk about just a full run of a few select type coins to make a little bit of buzz here in the last week. And yeah, nice little variety here. Not too much in the way of registry sets, unless you're talking about, the Steuart Blade pieces, which are just kind of like the highest point kind of total coins that you could possibly realize. Of course, that comes with a pretty hefty price. We'll talk about those sold listings and how much they sold for. It's going to be a lot of fun. What I did, something new here this week, is that I intentionally left off the graded labels off of all of the images. And then the idea, the rationale to this is this week we're going to focus on kind of like identifying and seeing what you see grade-wise. And by the time I reveal what the actual graded number is per PCGS, NGC, or whoever it is, it'll kind of help, kind of test your ability to for the Sheldon grading scale system is what it's called. So it's a grade point of 1 to 70, 70 being perfect. And, if you're near spot on with a lot of the coins you're going to see here today, you could possibly become one of those gifted junior woodchuck, coin graders. So, I look forward to kind of sharing and doing something a little bit different here this week. And before we jump into those coins, of course, quick little shout out to channel sponsor Whatnot. It's been a hot old time during the summer. Whatnot has been just a huge cog to my numismatics business, along with eBay and a few others. But Whatnot has been the best. So if you're looking to get in on the revolution of the biggest live social media auction platform today, Whatnot is it. Come join today. If you sign up under me, you get $15 off your very first item, and we do shows weekly. Just coming off of a pretty successful summer campaign where we have 60 days worth of just really awesome sales, and we got some pretty big giveaways coming up here real soon. I'd say within the next like 10 days or so. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. There wasn't much to be said when it comes to ultra-modern Lincoln cents. Anything, I suppose, 1959 and higher. So we're kind of using the memorial back design as, I guess the junction where, we split vintage to modern. 74D is the most that we can muster this week from Great Collections. And this particular one right here grades out Mid-State 67 plus red. However, it is not the top grade. Mid-State 68 is that number for 74D. And for a secondary tier grade here, you're going to be looking at a sale of $1,091.25, whereas a Mid-State 68 typically will go for about $4,000 to $5,000. So while it's a pretty steep drop-off, please do understand that there's still quite a bit of value here. If you don't quite reach the very top of maybe half a grade point lower than that, you're still in good shape. And, a lot can be said with a lot of 1960s and 1970s Lincoln cents. You can say the same thing for a lot of those too. Next one that we have here, 1948 is the date on this Lincoln wheat cent. This particular one, also a high graded piece. So judging from the way this one looks like and what it appears to be, I'm willing to bet this one will fool quite a few of you. So, I'll let you guys kind of think about, what the grade might be for a coin like this and reveal to you that this one actually graded PCGS Mid-State 67 Red. CAC certified as well. So, yeah, it's, I would say this is the least impressive 67 I've seen, in my opinion. It looks more like maybe, I've seen coins that look like this that grade as low as Mid-State 65, and that's kind of the issue here, is that, you have this example here that was graded by PCGS, and then you have their people that, audit each other. And not only that, to add a little fuel to the fire, this one was certified by CAC too. So they really did agree on this one. This one, by the way, ended up selling for $2,278.12 here last week. 1935D is the next coin up. All right, so go ahead and figure out what this one might grade at. Then we'll reveal that to you here in a moment. But this one right here, I'm not going to say it's quite the tough date. A lot of the mid to upper 30s Lincoln cents, even branch mid coins, were produced as well as the 1940s. I like to say 1940s were kind of like the kind of like the golden era of quality. And that's even comparing 1950s. 1950s, there was a steep drop off, on a lot of the Philadelphia coins, but overall 1940s is where it's at. 1935D, this one is a very well struck coin. We do see that here. So if you guys guess that this one graded Mid-State 67 Red as well, I want to congratulate you, because that is exactly the grade that this one received, and it's also CAC certified as well. What's kind of crazy, this one is a huge departure from the previous coin. This 35D looks every bit A67 with a few little planchet ticks and nicks and things like that, which is quite normal. That 48 that we looked at I would say doesn't look nearly as close as to what this one is here. So this one did sell for $1,051.88. Next one up here is a rather tough date, actually. 1931D is what this one is here. Compared to the 31S, obviously the mintages are quite a bit different. The 31S enjoys a mintage under $1 million, whereas the 31D is quite a bit more than that, although rather scarce in nicer grades. Only because, this coin released during kind of like a Great Depression era, where a lot of coins certainly did not stay uncirculated for too long. A lot of these were not saved at the highest state of preservation. So this one right here, okay, this one might fool a few of you again, because a picture can only tell so many words. PCGS graded this one Mid-State 65 Red Brown, and it's a CAC certified coin, and it's an old green holder. So this one was graded probably in the 90s at some point. This one ended up selling for $1,293.75. Next one that we have here, we actually had two 28S's that we're going to talk about. This is the first one here. So this one here, take a second to kind of gauge the grade on this one. And I also want to let you guys know that 1920s coins are generally very weakly struck. And a lot of these coins were struck with very worn dies. A lot of die deterioration during this time period. So this particular one right here, if you would have guessed that this one graded PCGS Mid-State 64 Red, congratulations, not too bad. Kind of a tough one here for sure. Because, with the amount of like little oxidation on this coin, you wouldn't really know if it was a full red example per the graded the guidelines, or if it might, cross over to like a red brown. It can be a little bit difficult, especially with 1920s Lincolns. So this particular one sold for $1,293.75, the same exact amount of money that the 31D sold for a few moments ago. So we have some pretty remarkable, just huge, insane Lincoln cents here. So we have a 1921S, okay? So these were generally, of very low quality when it came to the strikes on these. So you guys know that that narrative. I've talked about it before. 1920s from like 1919, 1920, Denver and San Francisco coins all suffered kind of the same fate. You know, and this particular one, ladies and gents, ended up as a PCGS Mid-State 65. Full red even. So that's even with a few carbon spots and what looks to be an apparent fingerprint on the reverse. Still managed to get that 65 red grade. However, there was no CAC certification or anything like that. This particular one ended at $15,187.50. We're talking about a very scarce grade in Mid-State Red. And if you're able to even catch a red designation by any grader, yeah, this is always going to be a huge coin, and that's even at a 65. Next one that we have here, this is one of the Steuart Blade Red Copper Collection pieces, 1928S. I'm just going to go out and say it. This one is one of the finest known examples currently right now in a Mid-State 66 plus red. It's also CAC certified as well. Very impressive coin. And like a lot of Steuart's other pieces, man, these things are top of the market and very scarce dates at the highest state of grade. This one right here ended at $112,500. And that seems like a lot of money because it is. This is, I think, the second time that this coin is sold, although if it did sell for a third time, I would believe that. Their original sale of all of these Steuart Blade pieces was a few years ago. So a few people that bought into these bought them, and they're kind of cashing out right now for really no reason other than probably to make some extra money here. 1930S, this is another Steuart Blade piece. I'm happy to report that this one right here was PCGS Mid-State 67 Plus, red, CAC certified as well. My goodness, impressive numerical grade on this one. Hard to go wrong with this particular date in a 67 plus. That's just bonkers to me. The price tag is what I would expected. This one closed at $50,625, and the final Lincoln cent, I suppose, or 1 cent denomination coin on the list is this 1925 S you see here. And yes, it is another Steuart Blade red copper piece. This particular one right here, graded at Mid-State 65 red, CAC certified. I believe every single piece in the Steuart Blade collection was CAC certified as well. This is an old green holder type, and it sold for $112,500. So, just between 3 coins in the Steuart Blade collection here, I mean, it realized nearly $280,000, which is, man, that's a lot of money, for 3 coins altogether. All right, so now we're on to nickels. We have a few nickels, nothing too crazy, except maybe this first one here. This one's pretty crazy. No Jeffersons. Yeah, nothing Jefferson nickel-wise on the list. 1925S. Such a rare date. And this one actually exhibits above average luster for the date, which is not really heard in the particular series that we're talking about here. Anything generally in the 1920s, yeah, luster is usually unimpressive, is a good word. This one right here, ladies and gents, is a PCGS Mid-State 65 Plus. Very big grade for this one. And it's not something that you just casually find at a coin shop raw. These just don't pop up that much anymore in this ungraded, especially. This one sold for $33,187.50. Big time sale there. 1916S, another nice one, but you can see kind of like just over the span of 9 years here, just how much better and well struck the teens Buffaloes are. This one is a very nice one as well. PCGS granted this one a Mid-State 65 plus, and it's also CAC certified as well. This one here ended at $4,107.38. Extremely stunning. Man, I love the color on this 1913 Type 1 Buffalo that you see here. You can see the raised mount pretty easy. Now, this is a very, very common issue. A lot of these were saved at the highest grade levels. However, toned premium examples just, they hit the market at a different wavelength. And this particular one, guys, graded, let's see, mid-state 67 plus with PCGS, with the toning, and you have a blockbuster sale of $2,531.25. See, the last nickel on the list, is one that we haven't talked about in a good fair while. It is one of the big key dates of the Liberty V series, the 1912S. So between this and the Denver, it's the first year where a physical mint mark was placed on a nickel. And this one here is the rarest of the two, with a mintage of, I believe, a couple 100,000. There wasn't a whole lot of these saved. A lot of them did circulate. This one right here, well preserved. If you guys guessed a grade on this one of AU53, okay, that is exactly what this one got by PCGS. And it sold for $1,744.88. All right, so we got a couple dimes here to talk about. All Mercuries, by the way. Nothing in the Roosevelt dime arena. And we have just a good old-fashioned plain date, plain Jane, 1944 Philly over here. Very well struck, of course, and 100% all original with the amount of just light toning that is quite suitable for the coin. It's not offensive at all. It's not in your face. It's more accents than anything else. Really, really beautiful original. This one right here, NGC, gave a mid-state 68 plus full bands. My goodness, that's a pretty big grade for something like this. $5,692.50 was your final on that one there. One of the big varieties for the series, of course, this is not the Philadelphia version, but I would say, probably a little bit tougher here. 1942 over 1. Denver, this is the overdate. It's also called the FS 101. I guess, the powers that be dubbed this one as a DDO, but with the overdate, they do, that FS designation as well. If you guessed PCGS grading this one at AU58, that's where this one sat, although, the circulation wear indicates that, it could be like more so an AU55 or 53. That's my opinion on this matter. But CAC did certify this one as well at the current grade. This one ended up selling for $3,165.75, whereas a similar Philadelphia version of the overdate would be right around $1,500. So definitely more value here for the Denver, and it is slightly more scarce in the higher grades. In case you're wondering, a low ball kind of 1916D key date Mercury dime, still highly coveted. Very low mintage. It's the date that is pursued on a whole other level, not only by type collectors, but people that have a lot of money and they're able to afford nicer specimens. But if you just needed an example, this particular one right here is actually not too bad. It's a NGC VG10. So if you would have guessed a VG10 on this one, or actually a VG8, I believe is what it is. This one right here has what looks to be a relatively full rim on the reverse. And that's kind of like a differentiator between this and those that grade lower. A little bit of toning, not my personal appeal because it's all dark and black on this one. But this one did sell for $2,194.88. A few quarters in the mix. We got this nicely toned 42. This one right here is a nice original piece, a business strike coin. This one right here graded PCGS mid-state 67 plus, CAC certified, and with the toning on this one ended at $1,265.62. It's not the highest grade, but the toning and kind of like that secondary tier of grade, this one is quite attractive. 37D as well, with a little bit of that light toning on there. Yellowish gold is what we have. This one right here, PCGS assigned a grade of mid-state 67 plus. All right. And a little bit tougher date. A lot of these 1930s Denver and San Francisco's can be quite expensive. There are some that are uncirculated and raw that can be had out there, but be prepared to pay some money for them. And if you are going to grade them, just understand that, don't take it personally. They grade these kind of tough, and with good reason. It's a very scarce decade overall for the Washingtons. This one sold for $1,743.75. We got a beautiful Standing Liberty quarter. Nice mottled toning on the obverse there. Little hints on the reverse too. 1930S is a relatively common date, and you can find these in brilliant uncirculated kind of condition. Still raw, for a few $100s. But if you wanted like the top end type here, PCGS did assign a mid-state 66 plus with a full head. CAC certified as well for this example, and it sold for $3,408.75. All right, just love talking about these whenever they do pop up. I think it warrants a conversation. The 1918 over 7, another great overdate. These were produced at the San Francisco Mint. In this condition, you could see the overdate of that last digit really, really clearly here. Far from the perfect coin, because PCGS, and if you had mentioned that this one has a lot of scratches on it, and you assigned a grade of details, good job. That's what they gave it. They gave it a genuine AU details cleaned for this particular example. But, it really doesn't matter. It's still a very expensive coin with that overdate. The hammer, the final hammer, $5,906.25. In a really just, non-details AU kind of grade, this one would be about twice that price. So, very expensive coin, very scarce overdate. The last couple odds and ends, it has exactly what they are, guys. Candy half dollars here. We got 1982p. So this one, I really want to test your guys' ability here on the grading. So I'll give you guys a moment to kind of peruse this one over. Check out a few things. I'll narrate a few things that I personally see that might really hammer the grade on this one. We do see a lot of nicks on the obverse there. These aren't nicks as a result of contact marks. These are more just really poor planchet quality pre-strike. The planchets had a lot of contact marks and stuff on them, to begin with. And even when you strike them under tremendous pressure to get a design on there, you're still going to see those planchet marks, all right? Which, grading companies, they can sometimes they don't. They really weigh in heavily the planchet nicks, and sometimes they just don't. This might be one of those examples where they decide to overlook that because it's a tougher date. So I'm pretty sure this one will stump a lot of you. PCGS, insert head scratching here, gave this one a mid-state 67 plus. Okay. Mid-state 67 plus was not the grade I had on my bingo card for this particular coin, so I don't know. I think you guys probably would agree with me on this one. And that's why it doesn't have a QA sticker or CAC sticker or anything like that on there, because, this one's a tough one. $3,294. Sheesh. Yeah, if you had this coin and it's 67 plus, sell it and take the money and run. That's what I would do. I wouldn't even second guess the grade, whatever. And the last one here, okay, so as you guys know, they didn't make any proof issues for 1967. They made a circulation strike that we're all too familiar of, and a SMS, a special mint set type, that is supposed to replace the proof coins after the Mint decided, we're going to cater back to the collectors at large, so we don't, PO them off, so to speak. What is not supposed to show up on SMS coins, because they kind of had like a high quality circulation strike look to them, is that you're not supposed to have like this really beautiful high quality proof finish on them. They just were never built and designed for that. However, you know, the first earlier strikes of on a fresh pair of dies will look like proof strikes. You know, they'll have the frosty cameo contrast on the devices, you know, and the nice dark mirrored fields all throughout. So if you guys guessed that PCGS gave this one an SP68 deep cameo, that's some pretty good grading there, my friends. And that was the ultimate grade on this one. What you guys are not going to guess is the price tag on this one ended up being $9,168.75. So, yeah, kind of a crazy one to end things off here. Again, little notice here, info in this video is for educational use only, not financial advice. And thank you guys again for tuning on in. This is your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Glad to bring this market report back to you guys. And as you can see, the market is really, really explosive right now, even in the middle of summer. And as we close things out, it's just going to keep on trucking, you know. So thank you guys again for tuning in. And I hope to see you guys next time on next Blue Ridge Silverhound video. So long.